with it, baby. Y'all don't even know. Y'all don't even know. Y'all don't even know. Man. Don't even matter. Man, where the microphone, bro? Where the microphone at, bro? Test. Where the microphone, man? Why it sound so low? Man, I gotta do this every goddamn.
That's good. That's good.
Better, man. That's better.
That's good.
That's better, man. That's better.
Of course it is.
That's not good. It's better, man. It's better.
Professional.
It's better, man. It's better.
Professional.
Fashion now, man. Oh man, I'm tripping. Okay. I'm tripping. What is that, man? What is that, man? What you playing that for?
That just rolled in, brother. That just rolled in. It got
Man,
a mind of its own.
Don't be rolling that in on my show,
It got a
man.
mind of its own,
If
bro.
you want to play, man, you play on that before I get on, man. You want to start
That's the
playing.
staple singer, bro. Look at,
I know who
we're
it
on
is,
back
man,
in
but
the day.
this ain't they show.
Look at
I don't
where
know about no staple singers, man.
that just
Doing,
rolled
man?
on
Nah,
in there.
bro, don't.
No.
Nah, bro, you can't do that, man. On my when it's my time to shine, bro. It's my time to shine, man. I don't want to hear no staple singers,
Come on now.
Mavens, Marvis,
Come on, you love them.
nobody else, man. I want.
Y'all love them. Y'all love them.
Man, nah, bro, nah. We don't want none of that, man. Good evening. This is your host, Joaquin Thompson, coming to you live from, what is it, Lilburn, Georgia?
Come on now, say it. Come on.
I'm your host of the Daily Bread Radio Show, Joaquin Thompson Sr. This is episode 83. And this is the last episode before we get into 2019.
And that's powerful. That's powerful.
Hey, man, that in itself is powerful. I mean, the fact that I stood the test of time for 2018. Went all the way through 2018. Started off the beginning of 2018. Went all the way through. Went all the way through to the last Thursday.
Yep.
Before we go into another dimension. So, with that being said, it's an honor and a privilege and a pleasure to be with the listening audience again. I want to thank everybody that supported me throughout, 2018. Everything that, just all of the energy that everybody has poured into me. Either tuning in to the broadcast, sending me emails, texts. I'm running into people in the street. So, for those of you that are joining for the first time, again, my name is Joaquin Thompson Sr. I'm the host of the Daily Bread Radio Show. And the Daily Bread Radio Show is a show that's about personal finance. That's all we talk about is personal finance and all the different aspects of personal finance. And you may be asking yourself, like, well, personal finance, what does that cover? That covers everything. That covers everything from where you live, what you eat, what you wear, what you don't wear, what you drive, where you vacation, where you don't vacation. I mean, from birth to transition and everything in between. From birth to transition. I mean, what hospital your kids are born in, what care they receive, what schools they go to, all neighborhoods you live in, neighborhoods you don't live in, all of that's tied back to personal finance.
It's gonna cost you money.
Oh, it's gonna cost you money. So a lot of times people don't want to talk about money, but I'm like, we need to talk about it. I mean, it's like anything else. If you don't talk about it, you can't get better at it. So there's no need of, putting yourself in a position where you like, I don't want to talk about that. So we need to talk about it. So on the Daily Bread Radio Show, that's what we do. We're charged with talking about it. Yep. So we talk about personal finance every week, 8 to 9 p.m. We're on DKM Radio. We're on Facebook Live. We done expanded. We're on YouTube Live. We got the website, dailybreadradioshow.com. You can go there. We got the blogs. We got previous shows. We're just giving away information because we feel like it's important for people to be educated, motivated. I said motivated.
Motivated. What it is, man? You what?
Motivated, motivated, and elevated.
You what?
I was rushing through it. It's motivate. It's educate, motivate, elevate. EME. Educate, motivate, elevate. Educate, motivate, elevate. That's all we do. Educate, motivate, elevate. It's that simple. Educate, motivate, elevate. So, I mean, it's been every week I think about what I could be doing. Am I on purpose? Is this what I'm supposed to be doing? And every single week, I get a resounding. What's that? So crazy. I get a resounding yes. The other thing about the Daily Bread Radio Show that sets us apart is this: we do everything from a spiritual perspective. Everything is tied back to the Creator, which is God. But we don't do religion. Spiritual based, but we don't do religion. Because when you get into religion, things start getting, they can get
Funky.
Yeah, funky. They get gray. People get all, I know what you're supposed to be doing. I'm Jehovah's Witness. I'm Baptist.
That ain't
I'm
what
not.
God said you're supposed to do.
Yeah,
with your
God,
money.
they'll take the word and spin it. And I always say, hey, we only got one. We do this, we point up that one though, that means it's just one God. So no matter what language, nationality, creed, color, everybody understand that.
Our
Just-
Father, which art in
that's
heaven.
it. Just our Father, that's it. And so we want to keep it there. So tonight, we got a very special show. And before I go forward, a couple things I need to make sure that I do, which is to tonight's show, I wanted to make sure that I started it off with just take a brief pause and say tonight. So, and this is the power of being able to, have your own show, have your own. You don't have to ask. So the thing about, tonight, what I wanted to do was this is episode 83, and I want to dedicate this to one of my chapter brothers of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. This past weekend, unexpectedly, he passed away, and he entered Omega chapter on last Sunday night, Monday morning. Very unexpected. Brother was only 42 years old. So I'm dedicating this show to the 6. He was a 6. I'm a 6. He was a 6. So I'm gonna dedicate this to Jason Russell, 8 Omega chapter. I'm gonna send out special prayer to him and his family, that God will continue to comfort and strengthen them as they go through this period, because like the scripture says, nobody knows the time or the place.
Yeah.
And he will come as a thief in the night. And just so happened last Saturday, our chapter was having a toy drive. We were raising funds and toys for underprivileged kids. And he was in attendance at that event, and then the next day he was gone. So it just goes to show that, we use, and sometimes we use terminology, and sometimes we can use cliche to say, oh, nothing's promised, tomorrow's not promised. But we do it in a cliche type of way, because the way that we act like tomorrow is promised, like nothing can happen, like, oh, it ain't a big deal. It's a big deal. It's a big deal, and we need to get to the point where we, are more reverent about the time that he has provided for us, because, like I said, this brother was 42 years old. I'm 51. I'll be 52 in February, Lord willing. And so that's 10 more years that God graced me with, that he had a different plan for this brother's life. So I want to make sure that, I stay thankful. I want to, bless his family, keep his family lifted up. I have another, frat brother was in a serious auto accident. I want to keep him in prayer as well, and hope and pray for his speedy recovery. That's Chris Nobles. So we're going to keep him, in prayer. But tonight's show, I'm dedicating it to the memory of Jason Russell. So that being said, got some really, on point topics. Man, why you got that so light? What you turn on the bright light?
They want to make sure you can see.
Nah, bro, that thing too light, man. Making it look light skinned or something. Man, ain't nothing wrong with being light skinned, but
Come on now.
I'm not light skinned like
You ain't light
that,
skinned.
man.
You ain't light
got it
skinned.
all.
You ain't light skinned.
Come on, man, tighten up, man.
You ain't
Tighten
light
up. We
skinned.
going into 2019. Tighten
Uh-huh.
up. Tighten up, man. Tighten up.
You
We got a
skinny.
lot of work to do, man. So you got to tighten up, bro. Tighten up. Tighten up. Make your stuff. Make your stuff undeniable, man.
Then you look dark skinned.
Why you gonna turn it dark, man?
That's all you
'Cause I
got.
said light.
That's all you got right there. That's the only thing in the middle.
Leave it right there, man. That other one was too bright, bro. I mean, it's just too bright. The other one was too bright. So I don't know what you.
Ask your audience what they think.
The audience will tell us. Tell us what you think, and we just kind of go from there. We'll take it. This one look much better. See, this side supposed to look. Look at camera two. Look at that, man.
Yes,
Look at that look, man. That looks good.
Mm-hmm.
That looks good. I don't know what you doing with that.
That's what they see.
That's what?
That's what they see.
No, this ain't what they see.
Mm-hmm.
This is YouTube. This is streaming live on YouTube. So if you on YouTube live, yeah, that's how it look. But I don't know what you got going on with that, man. So, but we ain't gonna worry about it, man. We ain't gonna worry about it, man. If that's what you want, if you want to be like that, man. If you want to be like this, you know what this remind me of? The Pittsburgh Steelers.
Oh, here we go.
If you want to be like this,
Here we go.
if you want to be like this, talking all that trash, oh, this and that. If you want to be like this, man, and now you got to depend on another man, a man depending on another man. Now, just so happened that
Aloha, this is Wally Amos, and you are listening to the Daily Bread Radio. It's the best radio.
don't try to bribe me. Don't try to bribe me, man. When you, I'm just looking at, man. Look, I'm gonna put it out there, man. A really good documentary, man, that everybody needs to go check out, bruh. It's called American Dream.
Dusty Rhodes.
Listen, no, American Dream, American Nightmare, as in night, Knight,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a documentary with Antoine Fuqua, which is the director of Training Day. He did The Equalizer, really talented brother director. But he did a documentary or expose with Suge Knight, and the whole, I guess you would say, expose, documentary, what have you, is just him having a candid conversation with Suge Knight, like just interviews, a series of interviews with Suge Knight, bro. I've looked at it this week. I saw it for the first time like Christmas Eve, like Christmas Eve or on the 23rd maybe. Man, I done seen that documentary. I done looked at it 4 or 5 times this week. It's powerful, man. It's powerful, man. If you get a chance, check out American Dream, American Nightmare. Now, you make your own decision about who he is, what he's about. But if you sit down and take the time and dissect what this man is, what his recount of how he started Death Row, what happened with Death Row, and the people that he helped, because we always hear about the negativity, and that's the thing about life. We love to promote negativity.
Yep.
Like negativity spreads like wildfire. You know, oh, guess what happened? Oh, she on crack. Man, guess what? He got caught stealing. Negativity spreads so quick. But the truth takes a little while longer.
Yeah.
The truth it's slow, but the thing about the truth, you can stand on the truth. Truth is undeniable. No matter how long you go, no matter how long you come back to, like what happened in '88? Remember when we was out? The truth, you can stand on the truth. And this brother, man, and I'm sure, just in fairness to everybody, I'm sure he probably did some heinous things, some crazy, he's in jail right now on a murder charge.
Yep.
So I get it, but everything that he did wasn't bad. Because some of the things that he brought up made a lot of sense, and a lot of people who are not old enough to remember, but at 22 years of age, this was before Snoop had even released a record. Before Snoop had even released a record, he was on trial for second-degree murder. I didn't say he was charged. I said he was on trial for second-degree murder. And he was looking at a life. If convicted, he would have got life in prison.
So no,
So all that stuff that he accomplished in his career
could have been washed.
could have been gone. And the thing about that is this: who put up the money for his legal defense? Who put up the money for his legal defense? So I ain't saying, oh, I was there, I know. I'm just saying, check it out. It's some good, he made some good points. He made some poignant points about manhood, loyalty, you know, commitment, and the way that we operate with each other. So I would say, I'm just recommending everybody. And it's a business, and of course it's business, because you go back and think about it. He made Death Row. They sold almost, they said they sold almost 100 million records.
Yeah.
Death Row. But here's the thing, how long was Death Row out? Less than 10 years.
Yeah.
Like 7 years. 7, 8 max, right? 7, 8 max.
It was a factory, bro.
Bro, 7, 8 max.
That's a factory.
7, 8, but I'm saying to amass that amount of success in 7 or 8 years, and one of the big points that he made also was that Death Row they never even dealt with no drugs.
Mm-hmm.
And he said the government was constantly after him trying to say it was a drug enterprise. They showed this, and I'm not gonna tell you the documentary, but this is something for us to think about. One episode or one point that he made was this: they raided his office with 100. Listen to this: 165 law enforcement personnel, state, local, fed. I'm talking about DEA, Sheriff's Department, LAPD. But here's the thing: he was not under any charges. They just raided his office and say, well, we were looking for evidence in the event that he did break the law for something in LA. 100, think about that, 165 people. So, and that one ties back into the book of the week from last week, The Art and Science of Respect. The memoir of Jay Prince, which was the founder of Rap-A-Lot Records. You gotta read that book. It's a must read. You gotta read that book, man. So, and they tied together. So if you read Jay Prince's memoir, The Art and Science of Respect, and look at the Suge Knight documentary, you'll see that whenever you can fact check things from different sources, then the likelihood of it being a lie is minimal. Because two different people are saying the same thing, so if you can kind of connect the dots, then that's what it is. And you may be out there scratching your head like, what does that have to do with personal finance? It has everything to do with personal finance. Everything, because both of these brothers came from a place where dreams were minimized. And everybody that was in that space, either in Compton or in the Fifth Ward in Houston, they were in the most poverty-stricken areas, but it was two people that had a dream that thought, like, you know what? Maybe I can start my own record label. Neither one of them would aspire to go to college. Suge Knight, and here's something that people may not even know. People don't even realize Suge Knight went to college. Not only did he go to college, he went to college, played football in college, and listen to this, got drafted by the LA Rams. Right? I mean, and you know, his football career didn't work out, but he said, I ain't gonna tell you what he said, but he said, you gotta go back and look at it. And he talks about the way that the NFL treats people who play in the NFL, as opposed to treating you like having your own independent way of thinking. Like you control your own mind. So that was a good segue into my first topic tonight, which was, and I want to spend a little time talking about this, and I just want to put the question out there to the listening audience. You can call in 678-381-1973, 678-381-1973, episode 83. This is the last one for 2018. But just think about this. I want you all to just marinate on this for a moment, on this question. Who owns you? Who? Who owns you? And what I mean by who owns you is like, do you own your own life? Do you come and go as you please? Or have we put ourselves in a position where somebody else has say-so, a lot of say-so in how we move through life, right? So And not to be hypocritical. I'm talking about me too, right? I got a 9 to 5. I depend on that, you know, to have a certain amount of them wages to go to, you know, support my livelihood, you know, roof over my head, provides for my family, food to eat. So I'm not being hypocritical, but what I am doing is this. I'm trying to just, at the same time, jog all of our mindset to say, does it have to be like that, right? Can I get out of this? Can I incrementally get out of it? Going back to the topic that we talked about last week, which is creating a mindset where you say, you know what? I don't care how long it takes and what I got to go through, I want to get to freedom.
Yep.
Right? I don't care what I need to do, how long it takes. Because last week I gave you all the metaphor of how these dudes was escaping from jail and how they planned their escape. They said no one had ever escaped from this jail. And 2 inmates planned it, executed it, did all of the manual labor, they risked everything that they had and said, we going for it, and did it. And they did it. They successfully broke out. So I use those type of things from a mindset standpoint to say, we could do the same thing. But the way I'm thinking about it is, whatever the masses are doing, I've come up with my own philosophy around this, and it's really about, the way I look at life is, whatever I see everybody else doing, I'm trying to do the opposite. Like, whenever I see everybody, if people say, oh, this is what, you know, everybody doing this, I'm like, I'm trying to go in the other direction. It's kind of like when you ever have a day off from work, and you just kind of like out going to the store, whatever, and all of this traffic is going northbound, and in the morning you going southbound, like no traffic on the road, it's just you for the most part. But in that other side of that other lane, in that northbound lane, it's just congested, it's bumper to bumper. That's everybody going in the same direction. So it's the same thing in life. It's a reason why it's a small amount of people on the planet that manage the largest amounts of wealth. Like, you know, 10% of the people controlling 90% of the wealth, and they leave the 10% for 90% of the people to manage. So they leaving us the scraps. So while everybody's trying to do that, so I'm trying to figure out, how do I get in the top 10%? Like, what do I need to do? And the first thing is, you got to change your mindset. We have to change our mindset. So that's one of the things going into 2019. I wanted to make sure I talked about on today's show. This is the last show before we go into 2019. If I can't leave you out with anything else going into 2019, I want to leave you with this. Please do not go into 2019 doing the same things you did in 2018, expecting something different. That's insanity. Doing the same thing over and over and over, expecting a different result. You gotta change something. Something has to change. So don't even go into next Tuesday, and you know, the clock strikes 12. You know, I want to be like a snake. I want to shed this skin, and somebody see that skin laying over there, just like, man, he done shed. Like, bro, I'm trying to shed this and be in a whole nother. I'm gonna get me a new skin for 19. I want to be in a new skin. People say, man, I thought, I don't even do that no more. I thought you, not this year, not no more. I'm done with that. I'm trying to get something different, and the thing that that makes it even deeper is this. What you do, what we do, impacts our legacy. Because over time, a generation is typically 20 to 25 years. That's a generation. So if you have a kid, or if you have a grandkid, by the time you raise a child from birth to 25 years old, that's a generation. Then if they in turn have kids, right, that become your grandkids, guess what? Your mindset has an impact on your kids and your kids' kids. So one of the books that I recommended earlier in the year is called Outwitting the Devil. Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. Now, most people know Napoleon Hill for being famous for Think and Grow Rich, right? But while he was writing Think and Grow Rich, right after he wrote Think and Grow Rich, he wrote another book that was called Outwitting the Devil. And what this book was about was it showed his mindset. Even though he had written one of the most popular books ever in the history of personal improvement, some people call it self-improvement, some people call it, whatever you want to call it, right? He had already written that book, Think and Grow Rich, and The Laws of Success, where he, researched the most successful people of his day. And we talked about that. Rockefeller, Ford, J.P. Morgan, Woolworth, Heinz, Wrigley, all of these people, right? But in his mind, check this out, even though he had been around all these successful people, in his mind, he didn't think that he could amass or do the same things that they were doing. Because in his mind, he had a poverty mindset. So he wrote this book, it's called Outwitting the Devil. And in Outwitting the Devil, that's another good book for you to pick up and just read through it. In Outwitting the Devil, he points out that one of the things that the devil does is he uses the fear of the parent to impact the child. So you might say, well, that ain't true. Yes, it is true. So think about it. If you have a fear about something, then you tend to pass that on to your kids, right? Like, if you went to college, then 9 times out of 10, you're going to be promoting your kid. That's the only way that you can be successful. Go to college. You got to go to college, right? Because that's a fear-based way of thinking. In some instances, sometimes I know me, again, being included, not going to be hypocritical, because that was something that I wanted for my kids. I wanted them to have a ticket to play. But just being totally transparent, that was part of my fear as well, because I couldn't see my kids coming out of high school and then just going off and doing something to be successful. I wanted them to go to college. But that was part of my fear. And I put that on my kids. Where it's people out there that didn't even think about going to college, right? That are more successful than I am. And now they're teaching their kids like, yeah, you go to college, but you don't have to go. You can do something different. So I'm saying all that to say, the way that we think, the things that we do, and especially the way that we act, because our kids watch what we do and they observe the things that we do and we don't do, and they learn from what we do. And then our grandkids learn from. I got an 8-year-old grandson. This joker stayed in my head, asking me questions. What I need to do about this, Papa? What you think about this, Papa? Let's do this, Papa. I don't think that. What do you think? And he's 8. So now I have the blessing and responsibility and accountability for this 8-year-old to say, you know what? No, we're going to do this differently. Right? I know what I did with your mom. But guess what? We're gonna do you different, because we're gonna give you access to some things that I wasn't able to give my kids access to. But I'll make sure that you have access to them. Why? Because we made, over that 20 to 25 year period, we made some mistakes and we learned from some things. So now he's gonna get the new improved you, right? So that's why I say it's who owns you, and then you got to start thinking generationally. What are we putting into our kids, and what are we going to put into our grandkids? So that's something that I definitely want to talk about tonight. I want to be cognizant of the time. The other thing I want to talk about tonight, second topic I want to talk about tonight is, what's your, quote unquote, what's your real plan for 2019? So these are things that, at the end of the year, we all need to be marinating on, because what's your real plan? Because, a lot of people going to be throwing away, all kinds of stuff. I'm going to get in shape. The cliche ones. Uh-oh. Calling you on the air with Joaquin Thompson, host of the Daily Bread Radio Show. What's your name and where you calling from?
This is Carmen West.
Oh!
Where people haven't been with you.
Hey! Wait a minute, Wait a minute, cuz you can't be. Wait a minute, you can't just be springing. You can't just be springing something like that on me. I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Oh man, what's up, baby? How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Man, oh man. See, I'm doing great now. I was doing good. Then when you called her, I said, "Oh my God, man! I done went up exponentially now. I done went like whoop whoop. You know what I'm saying?"
Oh my, you're making me blush.
Man, no, I'm serious, cuz. I'm serious because, I mean, I just think like that. You know what I'm saying? I just think
Yeah.
like that, you know, because,
We thought we'd give you a surprise. Corey's here with me.
Wow.
Corey's his family with me.
okay.
And so we thought we'd give you a holiday surprise.
Wow. That is big. You know what I'm saying? And that's, you know, the reason I say that because it's all tied together. And it's not happenstance, you know? I think
But
like
you do
that.
know,
you
let
know?
me tell you this. You do know that I'm proud of you.
Oh,
I know I
man.
may not, I haven't told you, but I am.
Hey.
Extremely proud of the man you've become, yes.
Oh my gosh. Don't even.
Good, you make old folks proud. Real old folks.
Nah, no, but see, that's what I was just talking about because people like you, people like my mother-in-law, people like my father, people like my mom, the things that y'all set in place, I mean, we're the fruit of that, right? This is, like you all were planting seeds back then. Like, look at these little jokers running around, you know, hard-headed with a little knuckleheads. Now, you done know me all my life, right? So, I mean, you done seen me from just a little jit. You done seen me in elementary.
Yes,
you done seen me in middle school.
yes,
you done seen me in college. And now I'm almost 52. And
Oh my gosh.
yeah, I know. That's what I said, too.
Look at
That's what I said, too, when I thought about it. I said, oh, my gosh. Hey, look, I got to throw away my Timberlands. I just got another pair for Christmas. I'm going to keep wearing. They're going to be like, man, they be telling my kids, man, your dad needs to start wearing them Timberlands. I love it, though. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how to act my age.
One thing, get back to your show, sweetheart. Just wanted to say, let you know that we're very proud and that I love you. Okay, darling?
Hey, I love you, too.
Give the family my regards. You guys do a group hug for me, all right?
Oh, no doubt. And
Here's a
happy
kiss
holidays.
Just for you. Mwah.
Oh, I appreciate it.
Bye.
Appreciate it, cuz.
Kiss Corey. No, I don't want spoiled. I sent you a kiss. I don't want spoiled.
Okay. All right.
Goodbye, darling.
All right, you have a good one. All right, love you too, baby.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So, I mean, that's just, that's what it is, man. This is my cousin, you know, I would say on my wife's side, but these are double cousins. So I'm not going to go into that, but just know that she raised me. She was one of the people that instilled a lot of stuff that what I was just talking about. What's your real plan in 2019? Because, you know, a lot of people have cliche, I'm going to lose weight, I'm going to make more money, I'm going to pay off some bills, but it's just you know what I'm saying? It's not enough to move you. You got to have a real plan in 2019 where you like literally saying, you know what? It has to be so big and it has to be so bold that you need God to step in to help you get this achieved, right? That lose weight, that, you know, make some more money, that's you know, like a whatever. But when you start getting serious, like, you know what, I'm gonna make a commitment to do X, right? And you know it's gonna be hard and you're gonna have to do it all year in order for you to achieve it, and you're gonna have to go through some embarrassment, and you're gonna have to get uncomfortable. Because if you're not getting uncomfortable, I'm gonna give you a litmus test. If whatever you saying you're gonna do in 2019, whatever it is, right? Of course, I'm hoping you at least wrote it down. So just say you wrote it down and you reading your list of things you're gonna do. If you reading your list of things that you're gonna achieve, and you don't feel a certain amount of angst, or if you don't feel anxiety around it, or if you don't feel like, man, they're gonna think I'm crazy, man. I don't know how I feel about this. If you don't feel that, it ain't real. Because that means you're just trying to do the same things you've been doing up until this point. No, you got to get uncomfortable. You got to get real uncomfortable in order for things to change. Because that's when things change in your life. When you get uncomfortable, right? Yeah, you good at whatever you good at. Oh, you good at math? Okay. But you're not good at reading, right? So this is the year where you're going to have to be like, you know what? I'm going to stand up in front of everybody and I'm going to recite whatever. Right? You got to put some, so that way you get scared to the point where, you know what? I need to practice. I need to practice. I need to prepare for it. right? And be prepared for people to be laughing at you, because they're going to laugh. Like, even when you tell them, hey, man, I'm going to lose 50 pounds. Ah! Well, you ate everything at the Christmas party. You ate everything at your house. You always eat a half a ham and 2 chicken, man. Ah! Now you're going to lose. Ah! Just be prepared for that. So when you get that feedback, that's when your antenna should be up and say, you know what? I'm on the right path. I'm going in the right direction. So I'm gonna just go ahead and put this out here. For me, in 2019, bro, I'm thinking of some stuff. Well, I done thought about it, I done prayed about it, and you know, I done gave myself permission to move on, just to go up. I done gave myself permission to do that, right? Because sometimes we feel bad. It's like it was like the slave, when the slave used to plan to run away from the plantation. You know what the hardest part was? The hardest part was leaving people. That was the hard. They wouldn't even think about, if I get caught, I'm gonna get whipped, killed, half my foot gonna get cut off, probably hang. They wasn't even thinking like that. They was thinking, I gotta leave some people that I love. I gotta leave them. I love them, but for whatever reason, they're not ready to move. They're not ready to move. They comfortable, and they good with it, and that's good, because I'm gonna always love my people, right? I'm gonna always have love, but I gotta give myself permission to say, you know what? It's time. Life is short. It's time for you to move and do some things, because the only way that you can bless people is to become a bigger blessing, right? I'm able to bless a few people now, but I want to be able to bless millions of people. So in order for me to be able to bless millions of people, I got to create something where I have the resources to bless millions of people. And that means that I got to do some things different. Got, a little less sleep, a little more activity, make a few more mistakes. And that's a good segue into my next topic, which is we need to learn how to fail a lot, and fail fast. Fail a lot, and fail fast. Why is that important? That's important. The reason that's important is this. The way that we, again, going back to outwitting the devil, if you think about when you was in school, if everybody think about when they were in school, elementary, middle, and high school, were you rewarded for making mistakes, or were you penalized and ridiculed for making a mistake? Right? Like if the teacher says, when you was in elementary, y'all been working on your times tables, and you're like, oh, I got it, I've been practicing. And then the teacher, see, it was one thing when the teacher would ask a question to the class, what's 3 times 3? Then you could be like, you could look around, like, shoot, I know the answer, but she ain't called me, and I'm sure, but I'm not, is it 12 or 9? Is it 12? So you go back and forth in your mind, but you're like, you know what, I ain't gonna say it, because I don't want everybody to be like, you don't know, right? So if you don't say nothing, you playing it safe. So that was in elementary school, and then little Johnny or little Jamie, she might have popped up and said, I know, raise her hand, it's 12, and what you do? You ain't know, you don't know, it's 3 times 3 is not, You was one of those people too that was like ridiculing her for raising her hand and saying, hey, it was, and she said the wrong answer. So what starts to happen? By the time you get to middle school, same thing happens, but it gets a little different in middle school, right? Even in elementary, but in middle school, what happens is what? What was one of the dreaded things that would happen to kids when you was in middle school? Call on you, Johnny. Stand up and read aloud the next paragraph. You said, oh.
Teach.
You was like, oh.
Come on, teach.
Boy, you was like, you talking about some beads of sweat. It was like, God dang. No, she didn't. Or I got one even better than that. Not you stand up. No. We're gonna start with James, and we're gonna go down the row, and everybody read a paragraph. Woo-wee.
The closer it get to you.
Boy, you just be like, well, and the Jacana Keenas, like the what? Like, oh, this joke can't read. So that's middle school. So by the time you get to high school, because you had them type of experiences, you don't want to say the wrong answer. You scared to say the wrong answer, even if you know the right answer. And that's in high school. That carries on into college, and then it carries on to being an adult. Even you in the corporate world, somebody's like, oh yeah, well, what's the forecast? What are we forecasting for in Q3? Are we gonna have, our ROI is gonna be at 30%? And you sitting there saying like, our trend is gonna be -10. I could do the math. But you just sit there. You sit there, right? Got to change our mindset and get into keep saying the wrong things. Because guess what? The times when you said the wrong thing, guess what it did to you? Not only did it reminded you that you didn't know. So what did you do? You studied harder. Because nobody want to feel like that. And we talked about that last week. It's only two motivators in life: avoiding pain and seeking pleasure. So if you say the wrong answer, or if you get a test back and you got all this stuff wrong, guess what you do? You don't want to feel that no more. You study harder. You apply more, and you learn more when you feel pain. You learn more. So I'm saying in 2019, be all right with failing fast. And failing fast means you trying to increase your personal finance, you trying to increase your wealth, IQ. Guess what? You're going to make some mistakes. You're going to buy a house. You're going to run and do a flip. But then when you bought the house, you ain't realize, oh man, I ain't realized the hot water heater need to be replaced too. That's another $2,000 or $3,000. But guess what? You're going to learn, and then boom, you can do it again. You're going to have to learn, boom, do it again. And then after you do it and play with it a little bit, now you're ready.
Yep.
You got to practice this stuff. This personal, all the stuff we've been talking about all year, this ain't, me just telling you and you hearing me like, oh yeah, that was good. I need to get my mind right. But you got to practice. You got to practice. I seen one of my frat brothers on tonight. You call him Q-Roddy, right? And this brother here, man, bro, this the dude I was telling you about this goddamn world karate champion.
Man. See, he's
World karate. I ain't say goddamn local. I said world karate champ. And the champ, and I'm talking about is one thing to be the champ in your division.
Yeah.
It's something else to be. He told me that, he said like this. He said, nah, dog. I won my division and my weight class, whatever his weight class was, right? And then after each one of the winners that won their weight class, then they had another goddamn tournament for just all of the winners in the different weight classes, from the smallest to the largest. Guess what he did?
Beat all them.
Beat everybody.
He speed kick people.
Boy.
Speed kick.
Now, when you say that, when you say you want to, you the flyweight, you the middleweight, you the light heavy, you the heavy, okay, that's cool. But can you beat everybody from the beginning to the end? And so in order for him to get to that point, what he had to do? He had to take some L's. He wasn't undefeated. He had to take some L's. But guess what that did? Help him train harder, help him prepare, help him get ready. Then once you become the world champion, you say, I done beat everybody. You ain't got to do it but one time.
Yep.
You ain't got to do it but one time.
Bragging rights.
No, ain't no bragging. It's undisputed. Once you do it one time, you done did it. You win the Super Bowl, you ain't got to win it but one time. You might win it 6 times with an organization, right?
Steelers.
Man, y'all ain't even going to the playoffs. Man, stop living in the past.
We still won 6 times though.
Man, stop living in the past.
6. You said.
Stop living in the past, man. You
Who
still
said
talking about, when was that? That wasn't this
It
year?
doesn't matter. Look at the history book.
Man, whatever. Man, anyway, y'all had to take some L's to get to that point. So the moral of the story is fail fast, fail a lot, because that's what's going to get you to where you're trying to go. You're going to have to practice this stuff. Practice. Get uncomfortable, practice. It's not going to feel right at first. Practice. Stay in the lab. Stay in there. Get uncomfortable. Learn the feel. Like they say, feel the pain. You got to be able to feel that.
Feel the burn.
And then go from there. So the last topic is I want to give you all some quick steps to get you ready for 2019. A lot of people have, one of the key things that people have challenges with throughout life is getting organized with their bills, right? And this is one of the key steps in getting you to financial freedom. Some people say financial freedom. Look, for me, just getting organized where you have enough income to cover everything, man, that make you feel good, right? And then put it on automatic, not no every 2 weeks. Oh, let me do this. I'm talking about put something in place like boo, 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 boo. And you like, okay, I'm good for the year. I'm budgeted for the bill is 60. I'm budgeted for 70. It's gonna cover everything, and every month that bill comes is 60, and you putting on 65, or you putting on 70 just to make sure. Guess what you end up with? A surplus. Now, how many people? When I say get into the minority, how many people do you know right now, December? How many people do you know in December of 2018 have a surplus on their utility bills? I said a surplus, meaning you get your bill and you got surplus on your electric bill for next month. So before the bill even come out, you already got it paid, right? Not looking to pay it, not in jeopardy for getting cut off and all this foolishness. So I have something that we developed. I developed this process, man, probably 15 years ago now. And what you're gonna need for this, don't let me forget the book of the week. What you're gonna need for this, I'm gonna give you all the short version. You're gonna need to go out and get you one of these, desktop calendar. I'm gonna give you the short version how to do this. This will change your life. This is the old school version, right? So I'm gonna give you the short version of how to make this happen. This is 10 minutes or less, right? Step number one, the first thing that you wanna do is get all your bills together, everything for everything that you owe, every liability that you owe, every person that you gotta pay, and you wanna organize the bills. What do you mean by organize? Throw out all the stuff that don't mean that, all that junk mail. A lot of times people got so much mail and stuff stacked up over here and stacked up over there. Get rid of all of that stuff and get everything that you owe and get it in front of you. Get your bills organized. This is for electric, this is for, this is for the phone, this is for the cable, this is for the school tuition, this is for auto insurance, this is for homeowners. Get everything and get it in just a nice little neat stack for each one. Just that alone is gonna take you forever, right? Because like I said, a lot of times people are just so disorganized, and the way they pay their bills is they pay them each time that they get paid, which is that's a no-no. Because you're gonna miss, you're gonna forget, you're gonna end up with a disconnect notice, you're gonna end up with a reconnect, even though you had the money, because that's additional money that you gotta pay out. 35 here, 35 there, 50 here, 100 there. Oh, it's cut off, a little embarrassment here, I called your phone and went straight there. So we're gonna avoid all of that. So step number one is get all your bills organized. Step number two is you wanna take this calendar, right, 2019, and start plugging in your calendar. If you have payroll income, every Friday or every other Friday, or whenever you get paid or whatever your pay dates are, start off in January and go all the way through to December and put every pay period, every time that you get paid, you wanna put it on that date. So if you're starting off on the 11th of January, say you get paid on the 11th, then you go on the 11th, the 25th, and then you flip it over, and then you wanna go into February, do the same thing, and then into March, and then into April, and then May, go all the way through to December. Payroll. Why is that important? It's important because then what you're gonna be able to do is you're gonna be able to place your bills, due dates, in between your pay periods. So either the first check is gonna cover it or the second check. But either way, you're gonna be covered. So the next step that you wanna do is you wanna take each bill and list it in the margin. Don't put it on a date yet, just list everything out, right? You just wanna list everything that you have from a liability standpoint in the margins on these calendars. The reason I recommend a desktop calendar is because each month you have a couple of blocks, or some of them even have a margin that don't have dates on it, but that's just room, see, like here. These are days that come from the previous month where you just list out your bills, right? You list all of them out for that given month. That's step three. Step four, what you wanna do then is you wanna take each one of those bills and put it on the corresponding due date, right? So if you say if you got a water bill and it's due on the 9th, right? So you take it and you put it on the 9th of January, you put water bill and put that amount. Do the same thing for February, March, April, May, June, July, August. You do that for every single bill. So your water is due on the 9th, mortgage is due on the 1st, the kids' tuition is due on the 10th, the phone bill is due on the 8th, whatever, and you just going from the auto insurance is due on the 23rd, and you just keep going. Everything that you have to pay on a monthly basis, you put it on the calendar, and then you do it for the subsequent months. You do it for January, February, March, all the way through December. Now, once you do that and you have everything on your calendar, you just want to make sure that you repeat it for each liability. Now, here's the trick to it. Here's the caveat. Once you get everything on, you'll be able to go back and you look at the step where you put on your payroll. Now, depending on where it falls, what I usually do is I'll say from the 1st to the 15th, right? So if I get paid on the 11th, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pay everything from the previous month up through the 11th, the previous month's last check through the 11th. So say like, I'll use January for example. Say if I get paid the 11th and then on the 25th. The check that I get paid on the 25th, that's going to cover everything from the 25th, and then you flip it over to February. So you're not going to get paid, on the 1st, you're going to get paid on the 8th. So from the 25th through the 7th, everything that's listed on my calendar, I'm going to pay it with that paycheck. Now here's the thing about when you get what you'll learn about your paycheck. Even though your paycheck may say your net income is $3,000, $4,000, $1,000, whatever that number is, right? That's not really your paycheck, right? What you need to do is once you do this process, you list everything out, you add everything up. So say you get $1,000. I'm gonna use small numbers that everybody can, relate to, right? Say your take-home pay is $1,000, but then you start taking out all of these liabilities. I gotta pay the mortgage, I gotta pay the lights, the water, whatever. Once you take all of that out, you might have 200, right? So the thing to do is just know that when you get paid, you're not getting paid 1,000, you're getting paid 200. You just need to know that. You need to act in that manner, right? But what do we say the number one rule is? This is just called a bill payment system. So once you set that up and you set everything, you put it in motion, then what happens is the next step, the last step that you want to do is get automated, right? David Bach has a very good book. It's called The Automatic Millionaire. The Automatic Millionaire. So when you get automated, what happens is this. You have all of these things on these due dates. You go into your bank, your banking system, right? Whoever you bank with, they have a bill pay section. You take your bills, say if your water bill is $100, right? You take it, so if your bill for the month is $100, what's that? And you get paid twice a month. You just put 50 on the 11th, 50 on the 25th, during that time period. So you know you need to be budgeted for 100. So you just go into your bill payment area of your bank, pull up your water bill, put 50, reoccurring every 2 weeks, 50. So that way it'll automatically come out of your account and go to your water company. Do that with all your liabilities. If the cable bill is 100, 50-50. If the tuition is 300, 150, 150. If the phone bill is 200, 100, 100. You set it up like that. Now you're funding it with your paycheck. So now, what this does is, this is called forced discipline. And what I mean by forced discipline is this. Now you can't be going into your bank account just willy-nilly spending money, because guess what? When you have these things on automatic, if you are not disciplined and you start spending more money than what you budgeted for, and you forget that you got all this stuff set up to pay out automatically, guess what's gonna happen? Man, you're gonna start bouncing checks like the Harlem Globetrotters. It's just gonna spiral out of control. You're gonna have like 8 NSFs in one time. So the discipline part of it is this, and this is true because it don't matter how much money you make, if you automate it and you get disciplined using this system, what will happen is you won't have to remind yourself to pay the auto insurance, the tuition, the cable bill. What would happen is over time, everything will be paid on time. Now you can go back to these utility companies and these other companies that play these games like, oh, you need to leave a deposit. You need to have, well, how do I get my deposit back? You need to have 12 on-time payments. Because they know most people ain't gonna make 12 on-time payments, right? I don't care how long you've been in your house, right? Or apartment or condo, they know you ain't gonna make 12 on-time payments. That's just the nature of the people and the customer that they used to deal with. But we're different, right? We talked about, you know, you're a breadhead. You're like, nah, we done did this. I got my bill payment system down. I done filled out my calendar. And then if you want to take it a step further, you can take all of that same information, put it in your phone, because everything is electronic now, technology. Take that calendar out, put it in your phone, and put a reminder on it. And after you do it, you know, 2 or 3 months, if somebody say a date, you'll know exactly what get paid on that. Oh, that's my water bill payment. Oh, my Visa payment due on the night. Or such and such. And that's going to save you money over time. So you won't get late fees, over the limit fees, reconnects, disconnects, none of that throughout the year. So you can use that money to pay off other bills. So that's just a step-by-step that I want to, you know, lay on y'all, especially since we're going into 2019. Book of the week. I'm doing something new for 2019, so I'm going to start the last day of 2018. Book of the week. This is the book that's on my list. I've only read like the first 10 or 15 pages. I haven't read the whole book. So up until this point, I only brought on books that I've read the whole book. But this book is so powerful. It's called Mindset, and it's by a young lady by the name of Carol Dweck. And the short version is this. She did research, and you can look her up on, she has TED Talks, she has YouTube Talks on this concept, right? And she approached this from a scientific standpoint. And what she found was this. There's 2 types of mindsets. You have what's known as a fixed mindset, and then the other mindset is called a growth mindset. Most people have a fixed mindset. Fixed mindset is you believe that you can only do certain things because of just who you are, right? You believe because people told you all your whole life, man, you're not that good at, you're not that smart. You're not that good at counting money. You're not that good at, you know, whatever you're not good at, right?
Your ABCs, yeah.
Your ABCs, whatever it is, right? You know, like, man, you keep bouncing checks. Whatever it is, you believe that, yeah, because my family is from here. Yeah, my dad didn't do it. His dad didn't do it. I know I can't do it, right? That's called a fixed mindset because you believe that whatever you have, that's all you gonna have and you can't change that. That's a fixed mindset. And what you do in that case is what? You avoid putting yourself in situations where you're gonna test or be tested in that area because that causes you anxiety and fear because you know you're not good at that, right? The flip of that is what's called a growth mindset. A growth mindset is you take the same person, yeah, I wasn't that good, my dad wasn't that good at it, my mom wasn't that good at it, nobody in my neighborhood was good at it, but guess what they start to do? They start to think differently and try things, but when they're not successful at doing it, they take that as a learning experience, they learn from it, and they keep trying until they get better at it. Those are the people that become super successful in life because they just keep doing it. And a good example of this is Kobe Bryant. So if you read Kobe Bryant's book, The Black Mamba, and that'll be on the 2019 list because I went and purchased that before Christmas. If you read his book, what Kobe talks about is this. It was so many things that he wasn't good at that he took the time out to just practice that one skill over and over and over. Just whatever it was, a pivot, a jump shot, a free throw, all these different things that he wasn't good at, he practiced it, he learned it, he tried it. If you go back and look at YouTube, they will show you Kobe Bryant's first playoff game against Utah, right? He had a horrible game. The Lakers was in position to win the game. His kid was rookie, 18 years old. Kobe took the last 3 shots of the game. He took the last 3 shots. He took 2 threes and had 2 air balls. And they was in the game, they was only down by 2 points. He didn't even pass the ball. He was an 18-year-old rookie. Everybody was like, oh, they was getting on him. He should have did this. But that summer, the whole summer, he just practiced shooting threes the whole summer. When he came back that next year, he had it. So definitely check out this book. It's called Mindset, The New Psychology of Success by Carol Dweck. So with that being said, we're going to bring the show to a close. Another excellent show. Big shout out to the super
My
producer.
name is Kobe. You're listening to my papa on the Daily Bread Radio Show.
Hey, boy. Man, you can't be springing that on me, man. That's my grandson. That's what's up. But, yeah, another great show, man. I want to thank everybody that tuned in. Thank you to Corey. Hey, man, big shout out to you, man. My cousin Carmen for calling in. My wife Tanya, I seen you tuned in. Q Roddy, you know, I seen you. I seen D Callahan, Cali Q, and anybody else that I missed, because I know the things be scrolling through it, sometimes I don't catch it. But if you're on here and you joined in, or if you was even thinking about joining, I appreciate you. Like I said, this show was dedicated to my chapter brother that passed away last week, Jason Russell, episode 83. So he'll forever be in our minds and hearts. So I wanted to, you know, dedicate this show to him. And now those are the type of things that you can do when you own something. So this, if you don't remember anything from 2018, remember this. We can be and do and have whatever we put in our mind. We can do, be, or have whatever we put in our minds. The quote for 2019 is this. This is the quote for 2019. Do something you've never done before. See something you've never seen before. Go somewhere you've never gone before. And become the person that you've never been before. That's the quote for 2019. I want to thank y'all for joining. Y'all have a prosperous, blessed, and safe new year. I'll see you all in 2019. I'll be right. Man, you gonna get us thrown off, man. You know that people told we can't be playing. You got 10 seconds. This is my theme song, man. But now I see. Cut it. Oh, now I own this. I own this. This is my. You can play that all night. Hey, boy, I love y'all. I can play this all night.
How you do a thing?
That's what's up, boy.